You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here's your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
I'm Sarah Honegger.
And I'm Christy Landwehr, and you are listening to this special monthly NRHA episode of Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for this Thursday, January 9th.
Good morning, Horse World.
It's the second Thursday of the month. That means it's time to slide in to the National Reining Horse Association episode of Horses in the Morning.
In this National Reining Horse Association episode, you will get to hear more special moments from the 2024 NRHA Futurity and get to hear from someone who has boots on the ground at these horses' very first moments of their life and what it means to be a breeder and a nominator. Listen in.
So, Sarah, I am so excited about the new year. Do you do the resolution thing? Do you have any of that going on?
You know, I kind of think it's too much pressure.
I love that. I think it's good.
I just try to do better than I did last year and start the year with maybe a little more discipline. And yeah, things are already off and running. So just is kind of tough. What about you?
You know, I'm doing the traditional try to work out thing. Hopefully it'll work for a while. We'll see what happens. You know, I think that's at least something to get me started in this journey of the year. But I'll tell you, this morning I was not super motivated to do any working out outside. We are 6 degrees here in sunny Colorado.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think our winter is coming tomorrow here in Oklahoma City.
Oh, you're going to get even snow, aren't you? They're saying.
We're supposed to. I'm hoping us talking about it is jinxing it, but we'll see.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting warmer and going to Dallas in a couple of weeks for the Western and English Sales Association event that takes place there. And for those that don't know what that is, it used to be here in Denver, and then that building actually was torn down, which is probably a good thing because they had a person at the bottom of the escalator. The person's job all day long was to say, leave 2 steps in between you. Leave 2 steps in between you all day long because the escalator was getting so old. So I am glad they're moving it to Dallas. It's been in Dallas now the last couple of years, and it's an amazing building. I mean, it goes the convention center, and it goes so many floors in the air, and oh my gosh. But anyways, very much looking forward to that and seeing. But if anybody wants to ever see any article of clothing in the horse industry, any piece of equipment or tack in the horse industry, anything, that is the show to go to.
It's the best shopping in the entire world. I might have to crash that trip.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. And then I'll be in your neck of the woods in February because, of course, we're having our leadership gathering. And do you want to chat a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Our leadership gathering is open to anyone to join us. It's February 2nd and 3rd at the Omni Hotel here in Oklahoma City. On Saturday evening, we will have our annual general membership meeting. And then the following day is a really neat opportunity. It's our first time ever doing this, and kind of the idea of the leadership gathering, where you can actually come and listen to speakers in a bunch of different areas, from financial planning to an international aspect. The Paint Horse Association will have a representative there as well. And so it's going to be a really, really fun day of just learning and networking. And we really hope everyone will join us. And it's absolutely free for NRHA members.
I'm looking forward to it too. And Markel, who's one of our title sponsors, they're going to do something unique. They're going to have a focus group for anyone who's there, professionals, owners, breeders, anybody, to learn more about insurance. And don't we all know that, oh boy, insurance can be quite the topic. So I'm glad we're going to get to tackle that as well. So it should be a great event, and I'm really looking forward to it too. So if you want to find out more, what's the best way to do that, Sarah?
NRHA.com/leadership gathering. And again, that's at the Omni Hotel in Oklahoma City, totally free. And we have the full schedule of each speaker and their bio. And so you can know ahead of time which things interest you. And I hope that everyone that comes will spend a little time in Oklahoma City too. We have a great museum. We have such fun things to do here. So you can make a little weekend getaway to kick off the new year.
I am also looking forward to this show because this is the time of year where babies start hitting the ground. And oh my goodness, who cannot resist a cute little colt or filly? The foals are so gorgeous, and it's going to be super fun to kind of chat a little bit more with our next guest, Miss Susi Hutchins from Tamarack Ranch, and find out a little bit more about all of their breeding program. Susi Hutchins is the owner and operator of Tamarack Ranch. Susi grew up in Germany and moved to the United States with a dream of raising and training top-ranked performance horses. She has studied the reining industry for 25 years and has extensive knowledge of which genetic combination makes a winning horse. Tamarack not only raised the NRHA Open Futurity champion, but also the NRHA Non-Pro Futurity champion and the high-selling yearling at the NRHA Markel Futurity sale. Good morning, Susi. So good to have you on the show.
Hey, thank you guys for having me.
I so enjoyed coming out to your ranch and visiting. Burleson is a lovely area in Texas.
Yeah, we enjoy being here. I'm glad to be back in Texas. We have made a big move in 2022, and but we have no regrets. And Texas has always been kind of home to us.
So tell us about your original big move. Where did you grow up? I know it was in Germany, but where in Germany exactly? And what brought you to the U.S.?
I actually grew up in a small town in southern Germany, and close to the Black Forest. I didn't grow up on a ranch or a horse family at all. I'm actually my sister's like horseback riding too. But, I was the one that was hooked from a kid, nothing special, not any specific disciplines. I was only drawn to horses, period. And so my mom at one point just gave in and started buying me riding lessons, and that's where it all started.
And then what led you from the little horse crazy girl loving lessons to then being involved in the reining industry and coming to the U.S.?
I actually got introduced to reining due to my sister. She worked at a ranch at one point in her life, but actually she went there to nanny, and I went to visit, and the family did reining horses, so I got to ride my first reiner there. And it was over from that point on. So I did more research and was like, this is cool. I want to do this. And I learned about the reining futurity and all those things. And so in 99, I went to a farm in Florida. I worked for Bob Anthony for a while. And after that, I came back for the reining futurity every single year till in 2007. I decided that this is what I want to do, and I moved over here for good. I came in between multiple times. I always thought this is going to be it, one more time, and I had a lot of fun, and I went back and did horses in Germany, and then I missed the U.S. and, the reining industry compared to how small it was at the time in Germany. And so in 2007, I just decided this is what I'm going to do, and I moved over here.
You are the true definition of what keeps our Futurity international, coming back year after year after year from Germany like you did. And there's so many others that do that from other countries. And we just love that, right, about that event. You walk around and you don't hear English very often, which is pretty phenomenal. So loved hearing about your story. So what are some things, Susi, that others might not know about transitioning to a new country? Kind of share those tips and tricks. And then the other day when we were chatting, you shared a really funny story with me. So if you want to share that story again as well, that would be great.
Well, so, when you move over here, when you come and visit, it seems like, big deal. You get on an airplane and you come and you're going to make it work. But, little did I know that how much it's going to be, how difficult it can be, the language barrier. I did speak a little bit of English, but not a whole lot. And so, just to try and fit in and get things organized. And, it was just, it wasn't easy, but I think that also gave me the advantage that I didn't have a whole lot to do or places to go or people that I knew. And so I could really focus and study the horses and the industry and the breeding and all that. Yeah, it was hard, like even the little things, to get a cell phone. It wasn't that I had bad credit. I had no credit. I couldn't just go and buy a car because when I came over here, it wasn't that I came from a lot of money or anything. I had to kind of make it work. And I worked at several ranches and, for very little pay at the time, it was different. And I felt honored that I got a job and worked my butt off. And when your English isn't that great, it's hard to be taken serious too. I experienced a lot of time that people would just talk loud to me, and I'm like, that's not going to make my vocabulary bigger. I really cannot understand what you're trying to get across. But, over the years you learn. And like I said, I think that gave me a lot of time to mind my own business and just kind of, try and figure things out in the horse world and study and look at the Reiner magazine and do all those kind of things.
Well, Susi, after the studying and all the time you spent in the industry, you and Gabe run and own Tamarack Ranch, which, oh my gosh, the amount of offspring you guys had in the finals alone is incredible. So can you tell us a little bit about how Tamarack began?
So Tamarack originally was owned by Susie and Pat Seymour, and we started riding horses for them. I think it was maybe in 2014. We were in Texas, and they became a client of ours. But we knew that they're going to build a ranch in Oregon, and they asked us if we would come and run the ranch because they lived in Texas. And so Gabe and I were like, we thought about it. We love Texas, but it was a great opportunity that we're forever thankful for. And so, we packed up in 2015 and moved to Oregon, and we started, there was a facility built and the program started. And so, Gabe was doing the riding, and we wanted to breed horses. And so we bought multiple mares, and that's where it all started. And then in 2022, they decided that they want to get out of the business. And so we said, we're going to go back to Texas, and we built a ranch in Texas, and Gabe and I, kids moved back, and now we're in Burleson.
And I'm so excited that you did that journey, because I'll tell you what a phenomenal feat with all of these horses in the finals, which we're going to get to in a second. So tell us a little bit. This is the foal season, right? Many, many foals now are hitting the ground. This is what we're doing. Tell us about your breeding program, how it started, what pieces of it you really feel are important. How did you make it all work?
I think, we do it a little bit different I think we're a big breeder, but we're not. We're breeding on about 10 mares, but I normally keep my numbers small. I try to do, 20 to 30 babies. This year is actually probably my smallest full crop that I have coming, but on purpose, because I just, I wanted to cut numbers, quality over quantity. And since, we're so involved ourselves, like I'm there to full out every single baby, and I think that's kind of what makes it different for us. It's not that I just, I have super good help. Mackenzie that works for me, she's awesome, but I'm super involved myself and put all the effort and time and everything in it. And I think that's where it kind of separate, because we get to know the horses, we get to know the mares. Gabe rides a lot of the offspring, so, we kind of know what works and what not. And that's how we go about to, finding or planning on the future crosses. And that has been my passion. I just, I do all the research. It's super intriguing to me to try and figure out how to breed a champion. And 2024 has been super great year for us.
Yeah, well, speaking of breeding champions, the level 4 open champion, as we mentioned, the Fireman, you bred and nominated him, and then Casey and Jack and Peter and Courtney Morgan ended up continuing him on to this incredibly successful big year he had. Can you tell us a little bit about the Fireman and kind of his first days with you and when he first went into Casey and Jack's hands?
So the Fireman, he gave me quite a couple of headaches because bowling season was pretty much over for us for a couple of months. And we had this one receipt mare, and she just did not turn loose of this baby. So he was born on May 22nd. And even that we had to wait for him forever. He was pretty small when he was born. He was super fancy looking and all, but he was small. And so, when we moved from Oregon, we, had to move all the horses and everything. It was quite a journey to build and move and keep the ranch running in Oregon and build in Texas and all that. But then we finally had all the babies and yearlings and everything moved. And Jack and Casey came to visit us and to look at the new ranch and all the horses. And they really liked them then. And So I said, well, with us building the ranch, I got to sell as many as I can. I got to create some income and all that. But I said, as little as he is, at the end of the year, if I don't sell him, I said, we're going to partner with you guys. And Casey said, that sounds like a plan, because I said, he would fit perfect for you. You're not going to make him look small, because, Casey is and so, yeah, it was the end of the year, and we still had him, and we called Jack and Casey, and we said, hey, why don't you guys come down again, look at him. If you still like him, let's figure something out. And so we did. But they knew that we eventually wanted to sell him, and they kept telling us how much they loved the horse and how great he is. And then at one point they called and said, heck, the Morgans are interested in buying him. And we were super excited, because they're very, good people in our industry. And we were glad that Casey got to keep him, because that was our main thing. As much as she liked him, we said, we're in no hurry buying him. I want you guys to be able to find somebody so you can keep him. It wasn't just for me to make the money. They put the effort in and the work and all that. And so it all worked out great. And yeah, I couldn't be more excited for us, for her, for everybody involved, how the story ended.
It was really, really awesome, actually. And we just keep talking about it. It just keeps going and going, which is so good. But what other horses besides the Fireman have you guys bred that you're just really, really proud of?
I'm super proud of pretty much every single baby out of Red Hot Walla. I loved her as a show horse. That's why we ended up buying her. So, anything she had, Addie Smurfel has been showing one out of her that has been a standout. And Nicole Rennick, she bought the Magnum because she was the one that trained the mare, not a girl. And so, yeah, I don't know. There has been a lot of horses that we raced that I'm proud of. I'm proud of all of them, because, we put the work in, and I'm there when they're born. And so it took some adjustment for me to be even able to sell them the way when you make it your business and you have to let them go, that's not always easy.
Well, Susie, we know people are going to listen in today and want to find out more about Tamarack and maybe even come and visit. What is the best way for them to find out more information about the ranch?
We're on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Tamarack Ranch Reiners, where you can find us. We also have a website that I try to keep pretty current with horses that are for sale, or, just altogether mares that we have, their record and everything. You can find that, and it's www.tamarackranchrainers.com. And then also, anybody can call and we can make an appointment and people can come and visit. I love to show them around and give them a tour.
Well, and Susie, thank you so much also, not only for being on the show today, but for being a corporate partner of the National Reining Horse Association and putting so much energy into the 4-year-old stakes that takes place at our Derby in June and all the other things that you've done for us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. We're glad to be part of it. And yeah, we love the reining industry.
I so enjoyed talking to Susie. She's so behind the scenes, right? Gabe is the one as the trainer that's mainly out there. And it was so good to hear from her the love of every single foal and how she's with every single one when it's born and does all the hands-on.
It really was so awesome. And I love that she talked about how hard it is to see them go. I just couldn't imagine.
Yes.
I'd be so attached, but to see them go on, and the story with Casey and Jack and getting to see the foal you have known since day one win the Futurity, I mean, there can't be a neater feeling.
I would agree. It makes me almost want to do it. And then I go, it's a lot of work. I don't know. Especially when it's 6 degrees here in Colorado. I don't think this would be the place. I would also have to move to Texas. So she mentioned nominations, right? That she bred and nominated the Fireman. For those that are listening that don't understand what that is, can you explain that a little bit more?
Sure. So to compete in the NRHA Derby or NRHA Futurity, whether that is the North American version or the European version, the horse has to be nominated. So there's tons of information about this. If there's folks listening that want to know more, you can go to nrha.com/nomination. But at the 3,000 foot level, you can pay in. It's cheaper when they're younger, and you could pay them in later if you want as well. Maybe you bought a horse that wasn't yet nominated. You can still do that later on. But it allows you to enter those competitions. It goes towards the prize money of those competitions, that fee. And then also the nominator of the horses that win also receive money. So since the inception of this program, NRHA has paid out over $2 million to those who nominate horses. So it really is a neat program that gives back to every single piece of the industry in our aged events category, and a really cool incentive for our breeders. I mean, Susie just talked about that entire process, and it really, really is a cool way to see everyone get to be involved. Kole Price was born and raised in Wyanett, Illinois. At the age of 16, he moved to Aubrey to work for his first reining horse trainer, Brent Lowski. After graduating high school, Price attended Blackhawk College, and after that, he went to work for NRHA professionals Mike Davis and then Gabe Hutchins. Kole started Price Performance Horses in Leland, Illinois in 2015. He now lives in Pilot Point, Texas, and is an NRHA $1 Million rider and was the 2021 Run for a Million champion. Welcome to our podcast, Kole.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we are so excited. You and Picture Perfect were the 2024 Southwest Reining Horse Association Level 4 champions. And then you went on to be reserve champions at the 2024 NRHA Futurity in the Level 4. Please tell us a little bit about what these wins mean and what the season has meant to you with this horse.
Well, for this horse, it was kind of one of those ones. After 2018, I was reserve Futurity champion on his mother, and he was the first one that she's had. And that was kind of the cross that I thought would work good. So that horse was always very special for me. I remember the first ride, I got to ride him, and I was like, man, I waited so long to ride this horse. And he was just a spectacular animal. Probably his greatest attribute is his brain is so kind. He just don't ever have a bad thought. He kind of just comes out and does his job and is happy to do it and be done. And luckily that was the same way he showed. But he was just, there's quite the story there from having the mom. I picked the mom out as a 2-year-old from Tamarack Ranch to training her up. She won the Buckeye Futurity, which was my very first open Futurity to ever win. And then turn around and be reserve Futurity champion on her. I feel like that mare was probably one of the first horses that really made my name, worldwide, probably kind of made my name popular in the reining. And then, out of respect for that mare, what she did for me, her first baby, I got to be reserve Futurity champion on and win the Southwest. So the whole journey has just been very exciting. I'm really, really excited to ride more out of that mare, but it's just kind of it's a really neat story to be able to ride that family line like that.
It sure is. And I'll tell you, the crowd was going crazy, and it was so much fun to see your excitement at the moment when you got off in the arena. Can you walk us through the Futurity and your run with Picture Perfect?
Well,
what was it like?
I was a little nervous drawing up draw 10. Just being the last one in the set. The draw is one thing we all complain about it, but we really don't have any control over it. And it's a lot of luck of the draw. Obviously, you want to be the first one in the set, meaning the drag set, so you have fresh ground, especially with a big stopper. And in the finals, fresh ground is very important. But I was actually the last one in the set. But Kelsey told me, she said, your set is kind of all the big hitters, or what we thought. Going through the go round, we're all the big hitters. Obviously, we were wrong with Casey being later on, but I had Mirko's Palomino horse, Cade's good one, Casey Deary's good one, and I was the last one. So I kind of, knew if I got past those guys, I was going to be sitting pretty good. But, the crowd was already kind of primed up because that was the set to be in. And Casey marked a 26.5. And I think there was one person right in between us. And, I get very, very, very pumped up from the crowd, the excitement of it. I'm very good about blocking it out, but I really enjoy being in those situations. And, I just blocked it out. I knew once I got past my turnarounds, being clean there, that I could just go horse show them and really hang them out there. That was my plan. My plan was if somebody was going to beat me, they were going to have to beat me just to really challenge my horse. I knew he was going to be there. I'd put him in that situation a couple weeks before I went to the Futurity, so I knew mentally that he was going to stay right there with me. And, I didn't really have a lot of ground to choose from, but luckily my horse ran perfectly straight where I pointed him. And, he picked a foot up on my last stop. I couldn't tell when I was riding it, but going back and looking at it, he picked a foot up, and maybe that cost us Futurity, maybe not, but he was as good of a teammate as you could ever ask for. And that to me is what made that run that exciting. The crowd is obviously nuts, and that's what every 16-year-old kid lives for. That moment right there. That's, if you're not dreaming about that, I don't know why you're thinking about being in the horse business, because to me, that's what it's about right there. Not only being that close to winning the Futurity, but you being able to call on your horse and him just keep giving it to you and giving you everything you want. To me, that's what the bond between horse and rider is all about.
And I mean, you could feel that energy, even people that don't know anything about horses and were just there, first time Futurity watchers. I had some friends there, and all they could keep talking about was this beautiful gray horse and its connection with you and the hug in the arena. I mean, athletic, he's incredible, but gosh, is he beautiful. And you can really sure see your connection between the two of you.
And I'll tell you, he's the sweetest horse that you could ever be around. He was probably, to be honest with you, he was probably the easiest horse I've ever had at the Futurity, as far as, I didn't have to ride him that long. I was able to give him plenty of time off at the horse show. And a lot of times at the Futurity, no matter what, they'll throw a surprise at you. And I mean, he was as consistent at the horse show as he is at home, and that part really builds into your confidence, and they're not going to throw any surprises at you. That just really helps. But his brain is incredible.
Well, speaking of his brain and how sweet he is, throughout the whole event, nearly every time I saw you after a run, we saw your sweet little boy sitting in the saddle on this horse or hugging on him. And you mentioned your wife, Kelsey, earlier, and she's an incredible, incredible non-pro in our industry as well. So what is it like to be able to share this lifestyle with your whole family?
Well, you only mentioned part of it, but a lot of behind the scenes, my aunt and uncles are there. My mom and dad flew, my mom watched crew the entire horse show, which helped. But, when you get to be a part of your whole entire family coming and supporting you, one, it gives you a lot of confidence, but you're not really doing it for yourself. You're doing it for your support group. And it's really neat to see what all Kelsey and crew are able to do for me. Kelsey's my eyes in the stands and helping me get ready. She literally makes it to where at the horse show, all I gotta do is worry about getting shown. And it's really fun to see crew being able to get up on the horses and, learn how to pet on them and tell them they're doing good. That's pretty special, and you as a father, you're wanting to become a good role model every time he's watching. So I think it's important to teach him right. But I'm so blessed with the support group that I have. I mean, it changes your whole demeanor on just the way you look at it. It takes the pressure off you having to do good, win or lose, you still know that you got more love than you could ever ask for. So that really helps with a lot of things.
I love that you have such a good support group, and it looks like, Kole, your support group started a while back, because we know that you rode for an Intercollegiate Horse Show Association team in college. They're an alliance partner of the NRHA, and they're thrilled, by the way. I was on a board call with them the other day, and they brought it up. They said, hey, Kole's one of ours. So can you tell us a little bit more about your IHSA experience and how that has served your career?
Well, I tell you, the biggest thing I think it helped me was you have no control of the situation when you walk in the pen, because like in the IHSA, like you really don't get to ride the horses. You literally let in the pen on a strange horse and here you go, mark a pattern on it. And I mean, it's very, very difficult because, to be honest with you, a lot of the horses aren't really true reiners. And if they are, most of them are kind of tricky or used up a little bit. So you kind of got to learn how to go show through a lot of bad stuff and make it look like, it's what you want. And I think that was probably the biggest thing that helped me is you go in there and, okay, you got to feel your way through a run and you got to be able to make small adjustments without giving it away. And those are little things that I dang sure do still today. You might not see it, and maybe the horses are a little nicer, but just getting in that show pen and having to stare that center judge right in the eyes and pretty much lie to yourself that this is going to be really good and make it look like it. I think that was it got to be at first. The first year was really hard for me, and then I got to where you just kind of learn to not be so hard on yourself and just take it as it goes and not have super high expectations of those horses, and learn how to get along and just feel your way through the show pen. And the biggest thing is you learn how to stay out of penalties and try to let everybody else screw up. But yeah, it was a very vital sign, especially at the time. People don't realize this, but I didn't show my very first reiner until I was 19 years old. So going right into college, going to college and getting kind of that experience of messing up and learning how to mentally prepare myself, where a lot of kids are fortunate enough to get to show in the youth events. I had draft horses when I was growing up, so I didn't get to show reiners until I was 19. So that IHSA played a huge role in getting me purely in the pen as much as I could, and learning how to cheat my way through things and learn how to, run the pattern correctly, the basic stuff that everybody needs to learn. But yeah, it was very important.
And which college did you attend?
Blackhawk College.
Oh, yeah. I've actually heard of that. So tell me a little bit more before we go on to a little bit more about the reining. Tell me about your draft horse experience. Did you had Belgians? Did you drive? What did you do?
So we had a 4-horse hitch of Percherons.
Percherons, nice.
We had those. Yep. We showed. We didn't go real far, but Illinois. We go into Wisconsin a little bit, but mainly Illinois. It was just kind of a family deal. That it was my grandpa's passion, and which is where I get the horse passion from. I remember I was always a horse fanatic. The cool thing about my grandpa is he was a union dirt worker by trade, but horses were his passion. And I do horses, and my brother Derek, my older brother Derek, is a union dirt worker. So we split my grandpa right down the middle. But yeah, the draft horses was his deal, and my dad helped drive and shoe, and my Uncle Buzz helped shoe and drive, and my Aunt Tammy braided all the manes, and Grandma made sandwiches for everybody, and Grandpa kind of ran the show. So it was kind of just a family ordeal. And I think that's probably, the horses is what kind of, it's very natural for my family to keep following the horse shows around. I showed a little bit in 4-H, but I really didn't, like I said, I didn't show until showed my first reiner when I was 19, working for Mike Davis, and then while I was in school, but really wasn't a show horse family. But the draft horses that was a pretty neat deal.
Well, it's so cool to hear where you've come from and where you're at right now. And we're already rolling into 2025. You're heading to Brazil for a clinic here in a few weeks. So what are some of your goals, and what are your eyes set on for this year, Kole?
Well, I'd love to win the Run for the Million. Obviously, I'd love to win everything I'm in. My biggest goal this year is become more consistent. I feel like 2024 was kind of it ended great. It was kind of a struggle year in the beginning. I just felt like things weren't rolling, and I think every time you struggle, it's God's plan. I had some very, very big success early on, and I kind of feel like it was part of God's plan to make me struggle and learn my holes in my program, and which I feel very confident I do. But probably my biggest goal is to be consistent, be in the top 5, all these shows. I think, I say I love to win it, but let's be honest, it's who's got that horse that night. So obviously I think that's anybody. My big goal is to be, stay consistent in that top 5 in all these major events, and obviously win the Run for the Million. I'd like to go over the $2 million mark this year. Really would like my wife to go over the $500,000 mark this year. But just keep making our business solid. We have a very fun group. Keep producing good assistant trainers, teaching them everything I can, that eventually someday they're going to be hopefully where I'm at, in this industry. I really enjoy the teaching side of it, with my assistants, and I'm very blessed to have good kids that work for me. But the biggest thing for me is be consistent, be a consistent hitter at all these events.
So, Kole, thank you so much for being on the show today. Where can our listeners find out more about you? Do you have a website you want to share, social media?
Yeah, I would say the most active thing is on social media, Price Performance Horses. We stay very updated on that. And also there's the information to reach out for us. We also have a website, koleprice.com. You can reach out to us there. But I would say the social media is kind of the easiest way to keep updated with pictures and videos and everything that's happening right now.
Well, Kole, thank you so much for being on and reliving the futurity and kind of pulling the curtain back on all of the moments that got you here today. We appreciate it so much, and it's been great to have you on.
Hey, thanks for having a good excuse for me to get in a warm truck. It's 28 degrees right now. My feet were getting pretty cold. So thanks for giving me an excuse to come inside and warm up for a little bit.
Anytime.
Sarah, I find it so interesting, the community of reining, right? Because he went to work for Gabe Hutchins, who, of course, is the professional at Tamarack Ranch. And, of course, his horse was bred by Susi at Tamarack Ranch that he got reserve champion on. It is such a wonderful community, and everyone helps everyone.
It really is. And I think the neatest thing, the longer you follow if you're more into following the riders or you're more into following the horses, I mean, the longer you're around, the more connections you kind of see, whether it's or where someone learned from. I'm sure there's going to be someone on the podcast in a few years that was one of Kole's assistants, and we'll be interviewing them about a big win. And it really does make it so special. And you feel like you got to be part of it and really witness history in such a beautiful industry. And I really think that's so special.
Well, and thank you, everyone, for listening in today. And now you all go out and have the slide of your life.